All right, let's just jump right in, because this one is, well, it sounds like something straight out of science fiction. We're talking about a brand new form of biological replication, something scientists, with a little help from AI, have just uncovered. And believe me, it's unlike anything we've ever seen in the animal or plant kingdom.
So, take a good look. These little guys are the stars of the show. And no, they're not tiny robots. They're actually living organisms, built entirely from frog stem cells. But what makes them so special? Well, they have this ability that's about to make you question everything you thought you knew about biology.
Get this, they can build copies of themselves. But here's the crazy part. They don't grow, they don't divide, they don't do any of the things we normally associate with life making more life. So the big question is, how on earth do they do it?
And to figure that out, we've got to dive into what's being called a totally new kind of replication. This isn't just a small update to the biology textbooks, folks. This is something that could fundamentally change how we define life itself.
Okay, so let's break it down. On the one hand, you've got traditional replication, the stuff we all learned in school. It's all about growth. A seed grows into a tree, a cell divides, an animal has a baby. Simple enough? But on the other hand, you have this new thing, kinematic replication. And this is all about motion. It's like instead of growing a copy, these little organisms act like tiny biological bulldozers, moving around and literally assembling new copies of themselves from spare parts in their environment. It's wild.
And there's actually a name for this, kinematic self-replication. Now, what's so cool is that this term doesn't even come from biology. It's from robotics. It's the idea of a machine building another machine from a pile of parts. So what's so absolutely mind-blowing here is that we're seeing this principle, a machine concept happening for the first time ever in a living thing. Biology is acting like a robot.
All right, so how does this actually work in practice? Let's get into the nitty-gritty of how you go from a few frog cells to a whole swarm of self-copying living machines.
The way they're made is almost shockingly simple. Scientists just harvest some stem cells from a frog embryo, the Xenobos laevis frog to be exact. And listen to this, because it's super important. They don't modify the genes at all, not a single tweak. They just put the cells together, and the cells naturally clump up into these tiny balls of about 3,000 cells. Give it 5 days, and they sprout these little hairs called cilia that act like tiny motors, letting them swim around. It's incredible emergent behavior.
Okay, so now they're swimming. And this is where the magic happens, the replication cycle. The parent organisms are just cruising through this petri dish that's basically a soup full of more loose stem cells. And as they swim, they act like little shepherds, pushing and piling up the loose cells. Once a pile gets big enough, it just sticks together. It becomes its own thing, maturing into a brand new little swimmer, a perfect clone. And just like that, the cycle is ready to start all over again.
But, there was a problem. A big one. This natural way of doing things was, well, it was kind of fragile. It wasn't very efficient. The process would fizzle out after just a generation or two. So you have this incredible discovery, this brand new form of life, but it seemed like it was just a dead end.
Or was it? Because this is where the story gets really, really interesting. The scientists hit a biological wall, and to break through it, they brought in the big guns, artificial intelligence. So what did they do? They built a digital playground, a simulation of the petri dish, inside a supercomputer. Then they unleashed an evolutionary algorithm. The AI basically started brainstorming, testing tens of thousands of different body shapes to see which one would be the ultimate replication machine. It was evolution on fast forward.
And the answer the AI came back with? It was brilliant, and honestly, a little weird. It wasn't a sphere. The absolute best design was a C-shape. I mean, come on, it looks just like Pac-Man, right? The AI figured out that this shape could basically act like a little mouth, scooping up all those loose cells way more efficiently than the simple sphere ever could.
And here's the proof, right in front of your eyes. On the left, that's what the original spheres could manage, a few small piles. But on the right, look at that. That's the work of the AI's Pac-Man design. Way more offspring, way bigger piles. The difference is it's night and day. You can't argue with that.
And of course, the numbers tell the same story. The original spheres petered out after, maybe 2 generations? But the C-shapes designed by the AI, they just kept going, creating new generations for up to 4 rounds. They literally doubled their reproductive lifespan.
Let's just put one big number on this, a 250% increase. That is a massive leap in performance. And remember, they did all this just by changing the physical shape. They never touched the DNA. It's all about the design.
Okay, so this is all incredibly cool science. But what's the point? Why does any of this matter? Well, let's talk about what the future could hold for these living machines.
This simulation here shows a concept the researchers call exponential utility, and it's a powerful idea. Look, the swarm isn't just making more of itself anymore. While it's doing its thing, just moving around and pushing stuff into piles, it's also building something useful, in this case, a tiny microcircuit. So as the swarm gets bigger, the amount of work it can do grows exponentially. It's a workforce that builds itself.
And that opens up a whole universe of possibilities. I mean, just think about it. You could have tiny biological bots that swim through your arteries to clear blockages, or swarms that deliver drugs precisely to a tumor and nowhere else. Imagine them cleaning up pollution, like microplastics in the ocean, or even constructing brand new materials we haven't even dreamed of yet.
You know, the scientists who did this work, they said something really profound in their paper. They said life harbors surprising behaviors just below the surface, waiting to be uncovered. And that's just it, isn't it? It's this beautiful reminder that we really don't have all the answers, that biology is still full of secrets.
So that really leaves us with one last huge question to think about. I mean, if all of this entirely new form of replication, was unlocked from just ordinary frog cells with no genetic engineering at all, what else is out there? What other incredible abilities are just hiding inside the biology all around us, waiting for us to find the right key? Maybe even a key designed by an AI to unlock it all.